Limitations may seem, well, limiting, but they actually expand your creativity. I know it seems counterintuitive, but I promise you it's true. I have learned this many, many times over the years that I've been painting. I think it's because it eliminates the decision fatigue that we all deal with. In the last video, the limitation was black and white. Today, we're going to add in one color. I'm using cerulean blue. See how many different colors and shades you can make with one color plus black and white. I think you'll be surprised by the results. I am every time I do this. It really never gets old. You can find the supply list below this video, and make sure to subscribe to the channel to see the next set of grid paintings where I add one more color to the mix. So when you start your grid painting, you can take a pencil and sketch out some squares in your sketchbook. If you like to be more precise, you can use a ruler or a square object like a post-it note. I just sketch them on there because I don't really care if they're perfect. I am going to just do some scribbles to activate the canvas and get myself started. Since I chose blue as my one color today, I grabbed some of my mark making things that were also blue. So I have two different Stabilo Woody pencils, and I have a Posca pen just to add some marks after I get some paint down. So on your palette, you will have your one color and some black and some white, and just begin to play around with mixes. Start to mix in just your color in white or just your color in black. This blue, you can see it's slightly grayish, and so that's because I mixed black and white into it just to see what color I could get. It's actually really beautiful. The color, you can use the color on its own. They're usually very saturated. I don't paint a lot with super saturated colors, although this blue, so this is the blue mixed with white, and it's pretty saturated at this point. I probably will cover some of it over, but some of the things you can learn are how light you can make a color, because you'll be surprised how little color you need to add to the white to change it. And one of the trickiest things for artists is to get your colors light enough. It's actually really tricky and usually takes me a few tries to get it white or light enough. So that was pretty light, and so I think I'm just going to add a darker navy color to add some contrast, just because I like contrast. And I figured that out just after playing in my sketchbook. So as you're doing this, you'll begin to notice, oh, I do like contrast like that. Or you'll notice, I don't really like that, but I do like the ones that are more closely aligned together. So this is some shelf liner. That's a really fun thing to use to make some spontaneous marks. You can find all kinds of things around your house to make marks with. There's some bubble wrap that comes in your packages. Corrugated cardboard is another fun one that comes in your packages. You can try out some saran wrap, even paper towels. If you scrunch them up and dab them in your paper and stamp them on your page, it can make some really cool marks. It's all about experimentation in your sketchbook. I also really like to use nature objects in my art, and so I'm using this stick to make some scribbly marks. My kids know that I love to use marks in my art, and so they'll come home from a nature hike or a walk with pine cones or interesting leaves or different sticks because they know I like to use them. Link, you're a mess. This scraper is, it spreads the paint in a really interesting way, and it kind of can leave a transparent spot, or you can make lines with it. It's really fun to play around with. It's called a Catalyst Wedge by Princeton. I just love seeing what kinds of marks I can get that really can't be created any way else. Like, you can't create those marks with a brush. And so I love so much texture. So mark making is just part of my process. I love to make marks. I love to layer things to add depth and texture to my work. And I found that out by doing these grid paintings. That's the Stabilo pencil. These are really fun. They kind of look like a crayon mark, and you can just scribble and draw with them. You could actually draw like flower shapes or geometric shapes. You don't just have to scribble. That's just something I do a lot of. I tried the 2 different colors to see how it would look. So there is a pretty light blue. I got that one pretty close to the pretty light color that I really wanted, just to add some more layering and more light spots on some of the squares that got a bit dark for me. You can make different marks with your brushes just to see how you like it layered over other areas, and just to see what you like. These grid paintings are so fun. If you put your favorite music on, it can be a fantastic way to just de-stress. And I love to tell people to keep your supplies handy, because when you have it out in a basket, you are way more likely to get started than if you know you have to pull everything out of a drawer and then do your art and then have to clean it all back up. When you have it just in one spot, it's so much easier to do this for 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. This is a Posca pen. Posca pens are acrylic markers, acrylic paint markers. So they work like paint, but it is in a marker form. So again, you can use it. I'm making dots here, but you can use it to make stripes. You can draw with it. You can just try out all different kinds of marks. You could make a flower. You could make stripes or patterns. Play around and see what you like to do. If you're just starting out and you don't even have a Posca pen, you could just try a Crayola marker. Sketchbooks are so fun to play in, so use what you have. Gonna add some final touches with another mix of color. So if you look at these squares, you can see so many different blue colors. There I like to scratch in with either something sharp. So that's the end of my paintbrush. So if you paint over a light spot with dark paint or a dark spot with light paint and you scratch in, you get to see the color underneath, and that makes it look really interesting. Thanks for joining me today. I'm all about helping you grow your own creative practice full of peace, intention, and curious exploration. Find out more when you visit jenfletcherart.com. I'll see you soon.